What's up, guys? So today I have a special guest music producer joining me for a chat. And this producer got accepted by a music library very quickly. He actually got a response within 24 hours of sending his tracks over to them, and they showed some interest. And then it was a process of getting the contract signed and ironing out all the details. But what's really interesting about this producer is that he got accepted with a genre he had never produced before, actually. So he's a member of Sync Edge. He logged in and he watched one of the videos that I produced there. And as I was going through the examples and talking about some of the elements that he should be including if he's going to submit it onto this library, he was brave and bold enough to give a brand new genre a shot. And that's a really sometimes a risky move, especially if you've been a particular kind of producer your entire life and then now you're trying to switch it up right before you submit to a library. I think it speaks a lot to this producer's skills and talents, but I really want to dive into that and why he decided to make that choice and try this brand new genre. So I want you guys all to meet Andy. Andy, welcome to the channel, man.
Howdy. Great to be here.
So, glad you joined us, man. So let me know about this decision you made. First of all, how long have you been producing music and you've been maybe pursuing music licensing? Is music licensing brand new to you? Or if it's not, how long have you been producing music for this industry?
Well, I my degree is from Berkeley in music, film scoring, and back in the day, and I mean way back in the day, late '90s, I had a few placements, Sopranos, Charmed, things like that through all one publisher, and then pretty much life got in the way, and I kind of got away from it, and then fast forward 15 years. And this within the last year, I've been really diving back in, trying to catch up on how it's done nowadays, which is all in the box now. It used to not be that way, and hook up with people like yourself and try to get to know how to get back in. So
Wow, so that's interesting. So you might be the first one that I've met who had a start in the 90s and came back this late and tried it again. That's really interesting because most people that I know who were licensing in the 90s either they've been doing it all this time or they decided, it's not really the income is not where it used to be and I don't like where the industry is going and they end up just kind of bowing out to it. So what was it that brought you back to licensing after all these years?
it's not just license of writing in general. I missed it. I mean, I've been doing computer stuff for all this time, because I got away from it because I was a single guy at the time, and I was making enough with music to support myself. But once I, you know, increased the size of the households, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough anymore. So I went into computers, which I had to figure out in order to do music back then. MIDI and sequencers and all that stuff were just kind of coming up at that point. So I had to get to know that stuff. Went into computers, and then I just miss it so much. So I decided to come back.
Yeah, that's really awesome, man. And that is definitely one of those really cool things about the licensing business is it does always inspire and challenge you to try new things and to just be on top of your game. Sometimes if you don't have that sort of carrot in front of you to get those placements and get accepted by libraries, sometimes it's hard to get back into the studio after many years, months, whatever it's been, and keep making music. And speaking of which, you absolutely completely challenged yourself to try a brand new style of music. So you got accepted with minimal tension cues, and that's something you really didn't have much experience with. What was
Right.
it about the video that I had put together that made you think, I think, I have the talent and I have the skills to be able to knock those out? And also, did you have some doubts? Did you have some sort of second thoughts about maybe I shouldn't get into something that I've never tried before? Or were you just 100% going for it and you just wanted to go and see what could be done with this new style? Like, what was your thought process behind that?
Well, when I first heard it, I thought, well, it doesn't sound all that tricky to put together. Um, I had been working with, the stuff that I have now, the sample libraries and doing some experimentation. And some of the things that I just came up with out of the blue just to try something out sounded a little bit like what you played from the library as examples. So I said, well, maybe I'll give that a shot. And then out of the blue, um, I saw a link to somebody's video online for him walking through doing one of these tracks. Here's how he structures it. Here's how he thinks about it. And I thought, well, that's okay. So that's got to be a sign from God, right? I mean, I just watched your video, and then that shows up. Same style, same everything. He even used the same sequencer I use. So, all right, I'm watching this, and then I'm going to try it. So I tried it, and it was really easy to put together a few tracks right away. And so, yeah, within a couple of days, I had like 4 or 5.
That's
Um,
awesome, man. Yeah,
tracks.
I mean, when you realize that, and especially when you said it's a style that you felt like you could easily knock out, that's
Yeah,
just gold in this business. Because if it's a style that takes us like a week to get one song done because it's so intricate and there's so many moving parts to it, and it's really hard for us to nail down, that pace is just not going to be enough to sustain ourselves to make this a full-time job. It'll take so long to build up your catalog if you're going one track a week, so long.
yeah,
But with these minimal tension cues with some of these libraries, you can knock out multiple tracks in one day. You can do 2, 3, 4, sometimes even more. Once you really get your templates down, you start really getting some great sounds that you're working with. Did you find that you had to go invest in some new samples and sounds, or did you feel like you had kind of what it took already? I see you're using Logic Pro behind you.
yep.
Did you have to invest in new samples to get this accomplished?
I think I grabbed one and I didn't spend a lot of money. I think I grabbed somebody, Loop Loft or somebody was advertising, hey, here's this thing of all creepy stuff because it happened to be Halloween, right? So they're pushing that kind of thing. So I think I grabbed one that had a bunch of atmospheric loops that I just kind of built on for some of the bases for some of the tracks. Pardon me. Um, but yeah, that was it. I mean, it was mostly what I already had, with just the exception of a couple loops.
Gotcha, man. That's really awesome. So it sounds like it's really coming down to you're already working with great sounds. You already have obviously you have many years experience producing music. So it was just a matter of executing that, right? And figuring out exactly how to do that from step A to step Z. So you had used, walk me through the submission process. So you had found this library, you decided to give it a shot. How many cues did you put together? How did you craft the email to them? And then what was the turnaround time before you got some interest back from them?
So, all right, I got your. I not only joined the Edge, but I got your directory that came with the email templates, right? And so I said, well, all right, I've never done it in this way before, so let's just follow the master here, and I'll use Jesse's template, and so I came up with 5 tracks, but I had only have 4 done by the time I wanted to send the email. It was on a Monday, and I've heard that that's a good day to contact people for new relationships. So I grabbed one of your templates, one of your email templates, um, you know, plugged in his name and his thing, pretty much said word for word without very much modification at all, what you said, and sent that out. I put it up. I had set up my website so that I can choose songs that will show up when I sent a link. So if it said the link said Jesse, it would be songs I picked out for you. Um, I picked out the tension cues I had just done and sent that link to him. And yeah, within a day, he got back and said, I want to license your stuff.
That's so smart. When you sent them that custom link, did you put like slash the name of the library, or how did you actually title that custom link for them?
Well, I set it up so that I could do this, and I actually I think I did the name of the library. Yeah,
That is like
or his
gold
name,
for
right?
all of you
So
guys watching here. So not only did Andy go that extra step to have his own website, which definitely looks professional. When he sent me his success story, he sent me the custom link with my name, and he even had a little welcome note on the top of his website. I was like, wow. It's not a lot of work, but just the fact that he put just a little bit extra thought into presenting himself and making it a custom experience just for me and just for the library he sent it to. Those are those tiny little things. It's basically like putting on a tie to the job interview, not just showing up in a t-shirt, but actually showing up with a little bit extra than the next producer has. So the fact that he had his own website already, that's an A plus right there. But on top of that, he's creating custom forward links, basically subdomains off of his main website. And if he's submitting to 2 or 3 different libraries, each one can be, library name 1, library name 2, library name 3. And maybe he's going for minimal tension with them, but he wants to do other genres with these other ones. So he can absolutely monitor probably where they're going and seeing who's visiting. But it also just makes it really, it's for them when they're getting these kind of submissions, especially in a market right now that is getting more and more crowded every single day, that you're not just another guy with a SoundCloud link. Oh, check out my tracks, right? That's pretty much what everybody does. And then if you have your own website, you're probably in the 10%, maybe 5% that are doing that. Most producers don't even have their own website. But if you even go one more step beyond, like what Andy did here, you are in the elite. Like you are literally in the elite of producers out there that are trying to do this professionally. And trust me, music libraries notice that kind of stuff. Music supervisors know, and they notice that kind of stuff. Because one thing I want to share with you guys here, the one thing that will give hesitation to a library to sign a new writer is wondering whether or not you're a flake. It takes a lot of time and effort to put together the contract, to get that under deal with you, accept your tracks, throw the metadata on it, upload it onto their website, register with the PROs. It's a lot of work to bring you on board with their company. And if they think you're just a fly-by-night, you're going to send them 2 songs and then you're out of the business, they will not want to work with you. I've gotten this feedback from so many of the libraries that I work with. They say, Jesse, you're one of the few guys that we've hung on to this long. Like most other people that we signed when you got signed are gone now. And that's because they flake. They tell us they're going to submit and they never do. Or they just don't send us music on a consistent basis. Like we hear from them once every 6 months. And it's like, you know what? We want to have relationships with producers. We don't want to be a once in a while, you send us whatever you've been like, messing around with on your free time. We want serious producers that are going to help build our catalog and help us grow. We want them to grow with us. So this is the kind of stuff that they look for, right? This would be one of those big key indicators that Andy is a serious producer that's not a flash in the pan. He's not just excited about a couple of tracks and then he's going to move on. He's showing a lot of, it's not much effort. I mean, this is really that take you like 2, 3, 5 minutes to put that together, right? To create another one, reorder your tracks or upload new ones. I mean, this is like peanuts. This is really small amounts of work, but it shows in monumental ways when you submit to libraries. So Andy, that's very smart, man. And I recommend that to keep doing that. As you reach out and maybe start working with other libraries in the future. It's a great approach, and having a little custom welcome line specifically for them to, click below to listen to those songs. It's a really smart move there. Did you just come up with that with yourself? That was just your idea?
Yeah, that was, I looked at a couple of composers' websites and like how SoundCloud presents the things. So I just went and found the code, to have the little player there with the wave showing. I thought it might be neat to have my prior stuff below if they wanted to look. If they didn't, hey, that's okay. But it's just nice to have that down below. But then the main thing was to give them a custom, like you said, give them a custom message, a custom link, and a custom curated list of what I want them to hear. I set it up so that if you go with no link, then it's just a random. It just picks out random 4 tracks and just plays. But if it's what I sent you, then you will get my message and you'll get the tunes I picked out for you.
Very, very smart. And for those of you that do want to build your website, I do have a tutorial for how to build it with Wix. It's so easy. It's so stupid easy. Anybody, even if you're tech illiterate, can get through this. It's a 1-hour tutorial, and I walk you through step 1 to step whatever it is, however many steps it takes to get you not only your custom domain, but you can get a custom email address, and you can put your picture up there, a little bio of yourself, and you can have your audio playing, your music playing, just like Andy has on his site. And I'll put that link right below this video if you guys want to go check that out and watch it, because that is the thing that's like putting on a suit for those job interviews and those submissions with libraries. If you get basically one shot at a lot of these libraries, which you probably do, why would you tie one hand behind your back, right? You want to come out there swinging, having the best possible music, highest quality music, of course, and on par with what they currently have, but also just the packaging, the presentation, the marketing of yourself. A lot of producers and musicians are uncomfortable selling ourselves and presenting our music as like, hey, come and buy my stuff. A lot of us get a little bit shy about that. But you have to kind of get over that when it comes to music licensing. You have to sell yourself and what are you really selling? yourself, right? Your music is obviously there representing you, but it's really you that they're signing, okay? They really want a hard worker, somebody who's professional, somebody who delivers the standards that they need, and consistently shows up. And all of these elements that you include with your submission, having a well thought out written email, that's why I do those templates, having your own website, and having custom tailored messages and songs and music playing for each library that you send to, that shows that you're not spamming people, okay, which is what most producers do. They just copy and paste 50 email addresses and just hope something sticks. You're going to wind up in people's spam folders if you do that, so don't do that. And they're going to block you, so that means you have no shot at submitting to those kind of libraries in the future. So follow Andy's example. I see some bright things for Andy. I know he's had some success already, but I know that coming at it now, he's got all that experience from those past years he was there, plus all the stuff that he's got under his belt now. And obviously, he's acquiring new skills and getting out there. I know he got his this contract landed definitely within a month, probably a couple of weeks, I think, of getting my library directory. So he can do it. You can do it. Okay, this isn't rocket science. You just got to be smart, guys. You got to take maybe that extra 5% of effort, and you will stand out from the crowd. I'm telling you, that's one of the big secrets to success in the world. It doesn't take a lot of extra effort, but just a little bit more, because most people are just lazy. That's just human nature. So, Andy, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
Got a pleasure.